Hi, y'all. How are you doing? I'm Miss Blunt. I'm one of the counselors here, and we're happy to do our first new to Hooch information night tonight for all of you new families. I'm going to take myself off camera while we're doing the presentation, but you'll still hear me talking. Ms. Chilson will be running the chat, so any of you can type in your questions in the chat, and she'll be answering them. In real time. And if she sees that any of your questions are likely for would be beneficial for the general public, those of you in this meeting to hear or to see the answer to, she will post them to the public chat. And then afterwards, we'll open up a verbal Q&A session once the presentation's over. And then I will be answering questions verbally that way as well. And at that point in time, you'll be able to use the raise hand feature in your app to ask questions there. Okay, let me share. Okay, so I just went over just the helpful hints here. You can use the Q&A feature to type in questions about the current slide. Ms. Chilson, of course, is answering those in the chat. And then after the presentation's over, we will be able to open up the verbal Q&A. This is our agenda for tonight. Just a couple of things that we're going to talk about. And just an overview of what we feel like is important for new families to know about, to get acclimated to Chattahoochee, quicker. So you've probably seen already, if you haven't already, you might have heard about Infinite Campus. It is an awesome information system that allows us at the school to share information in the portal about your students' class grades, averages, their attendance. There's documents that you can view. We definitely recommend you activating this account for your household. Students have access to it as well. There's an app that you can download for your cell phone that makes it really easy to navigate as well. In Infinite Campus, that's where progress reports are shared. That is at the 4.5, the 9-week, the 13.5-week progress reports each semester, and then the first semester report cards. Report card is the actual final grade from first semester. These are not mailed home as the years have gone on and Infinite Campus capabilities have opened up. And of course, people trying to go more green and not have so much paper produced. It's just really easy to release these progress reports at these intervals. And then students can access Infinite Campus through ClassLink, and that's on a future slide. So in case you have not yet activated Infinite Campus for your household, you would go to fultonschools.org/Infinite Campus. If you scroll down a little bit and look for the maroon activation icon kind of on the right side, if you click on that, it'll take you to a screen where you will be prompted to enter your email address. This is very important. Make sure you enter the email address you used when registering your student. I know I have a couple different email addresses, one that I use for kind of my junk mail, one that I use for actual communications. So just use the email address that you actually entered when you register your student. After you do that, you'll receive an automated email from Infinite Campus. It will prompt you to answer 4 different questions about your student: their full legal name, their birthday, their grade level, and their student ID number. The student ID number, the student can see that it's on the top of their schedule if they've ever received a printed copy. If for some reason you're not sure where to find that, you can always email your student's counselor. Once you enter those answers for those 4 questions, you'll then receive an activation code via email. If for some reason you're not seeing the first automated email that you should receive when you enter your email address or the activation code, just be sure to check your junk or spam folders for that email account that you're using. And then once you get the activation code and enter that, you'll be able to choose your own username and password for your account, something that you're able to remember. Okay, so the settings of Infinite Campus, you are able to actually set what information is sent to you. In the top right corner, click the person icon and then click the link for settings. You can see where you can select if you receive notifications if an assignment is scored, if a grade is updated, if attendance is updated, and you can actually see on the sliding scales where you can select if the agreement you have, with your student is, okay, well, I need you to have, an 80, say, on all assignments, then you would slide that slider up a little bit and you can say, let me know if any assignments are marked with less than an 80. Same thing with class averages. So those are really helpful. We definitely think it's good practice for you to monitor your students' assignment completion, quiz and test scores, class grades, attendance, all of that, until you feel confident that they are able to handle it on their own. Give me just 1 second. I need to take this off of presenter view. Okay, there we go. That's probably better for y'all to see. Okay, within Infinite Campus, there's a lot of tabs on the left side. Under the calendar tab on the left side, that's kind of what you'll be able to, that's where you'll be able to see any quote entries for each day of the week. So I have it, the screenshot I have here shows the attendance. So if you wanted to see if, say, your student was marked tardy or absent to a class, you could click on the individual day and see all the different entries for that. On the assignments tab, this view that I have right here, you can see all the different categories on the left that you can click on and see multiple pieces of information for your student. The assignments tab, you can see due dates for any assignments in each of your students' classes. You can see them in one spot. So you can see this student that I chose as an example so far, as of the time that I took the screenshot, AP Environmental Science and AP Statistics. Those two teachers had already given some assignments and graded them as well. You can also see where if different assignments are ungraded or they're already been graded. Under the grades tab, that's where you can get a little bit more detailed. You can see the current averages for your students' classes, not just individual assignment grades. You'll be able to see in this view where the different grading categories exist as well. So the minor category, which was most classes might be quizzes, might be some small projects. You can see the weight is 35. That's 35% of their total semester average. Practice would probably be homework assignments, maybe classwork assignments. That's 10% of their total semester grade. And then once we get a little bit further into the semester, the different classes are going to have the major category, and that's, of course, tests, probably larger projects, maybe papers for an English class. And then, so you'll be able to see all those grade breakdowns in there as well. The attendance tab on the left side, here's where you can see the total number of times your student has been absent from or tardy to each of their classes. So the attendance view right here doesn't show you a day-to-day tally, but it does show the total number. Okay, and then finally the documents tab. I'm sure you've probably heard of the device user agreement. That is what must be signed, and this is important, from the primary parent account. So when you registered your student, if there are two parents in the household, then whichever parent was listed as the primary, that parent account is where the device user agreement lives. That is the only place it can be signed. That has to be signed electronically through that parent's Infinite Campus account for students to be able to pick up their device from the Media Center. Also, the unofficial transcript, that's a very useful document. A lot of students will reference this. It seems to be the later that students get into high school, the more they're referencing it. The more aware they are of, their numeric average or their certain grades and classes, or also referencing it maybe when they're starting to apply for colleges. This is also a great place for you to print this document. A lot of auto insurance companies will offer a quote good student discount for students who have certain grades or GPAs in high school when they're student drivers. And then also when your student goes to get their driver's license from the Department of Driver Services, it used to be there was a proof of school enrollment form that they needed directly from each high school. That's no longer needed. All you need is just the unofficial transcript showing your student is enrolled here. You can print that yourself and take it with you when you take your student to get their driver's license. ClassLink is going to be for student use. That's going to be the landing page for most apps that your student will use while they're in school here. Some of the common ones are Infinite Campus, Naviance, Teams, and Outlook. There are other apps that we in the counseling office may not even know about. They're, apps that each of their teachers use. There might be some that are specific to the different subject areas in the school. For students to get to ClassLink, they can go to this link or any Fulton County schools page. It is going to have a bar in the middle of the page with a couple different icons to click on. You can always get to ClassLink from there. You can always get to ClassLink from chatcougar.com, CHATT cougar.com. The username is the student's ID number, sometimes also referred to as their lunch number. Their password is the student's birthday in 8-digit month, date, year format, unless for some reason they've already selected another password since they started. And just be cautious of the month and day. I know a lot of countries outside the US list the day first and then the month. So that could be a reason that maybe your student is able to sign in. Once the student signed in, students can access any of the applications shown. And this is also where students access their Fulton County email account through the Microsoft Office suite. If they go in there and click on the Outlook tab, they will be able to access their Fulton County email address. Fulton County email addresses, student Fulton County email accounts can only email other people within Fulton County. So your student would not be able to email you at a personal account from their Fulton County email account. They can only email their teachers, us as counselors, administrators, anyone in the school system. But I do know a lot of teachers will do some communication through email. If for some reason, hey, Johnny, I noticed you were out today. Hope everything's okay. This is what we did. So I would definitely recommend your student check their Outlook on a regular basis. We're not going to get too much into the nitty gritty about graduation requirements and course selection and that kind of stuff. We are always making sure that your student is taking the correct classes each school year, that kind of thing. But we did at least want to go ahead and let you know as new families, just the Georgia graduation requirements from high school. So 4 years of English, 4 of math, 4 of science, 3 total of social studies, a half credit each of health and personal fitness. You'll see the asterisk below. There is a personal fitness waiver available for students who complete a season of a GHSA sport or a season of marching band, and that's specifically for Chattahoochee. Students have to have 3 total credits, and it's any combination of world language, fine arts, and career tech. The double asterisk below, you can see that 2 credits of the same world language are required for most 4-year colleges. Some competitive colleges prefer to see 3, possibly even more credits, but typically 2 credits is what we encourage students to do if at all possible. We don't want to limit students' post-secondary options any earlier than we need to. But if you as a family have already decided with your student, yeah, we're going to go in the military, we're going to go in the workforce, we're going to start at a community college or a technical college, then world language is not a specific high school graduation requirement. And then of course 4 additional elective units in any of those areas. So just explaining Fulton County's grading scale, we use a 100-point scale, not a 4.0 scale. So on a student's transcript, you'll see a numeric average that it's not going to be listed as a 4.0 or 3.5 or a 2.0, anything like that. A is 90 and above, B is 80 to 89, C is 70 to 79, and F is below 70. There are not Ds in Fulton County. We do know that some districts, some other states, some countries have Ds as a passing grade. So no fear. If your student is in that situation, coming from a different state, district, country, and they earned a D or whatever other designator for a grade that is considered passing, that it's not necessarily listed as A, B, or C, as long as that district or school considered that a passing grade, we would transfer that grade as our lowest passing. Each high school class earns a half credit per semester. Only exceptions are dual enrollment courses, which is college courses that students take while in high school, and a small number of courses that offer embedded credits here. First semester will end in December. Last day of this semester is December 16th. Second semester will end in May. The last day of the semester in May is May 25th. Students do have to have a certain number of credits to be listed in the next grade level. So current students in 9th grade, they must earn 5 credits by the end of summer 2023 in order to be listed in 10th grade the following school year, and so on. As I referenced previously, prior credits and grades earned are transferred onto the Fulton County transcript. They are transferred as they are posted on the prior school district's transcript, of course, with the exception I just shared. If the prior district or school determines, has posted that, say, a 60 is passing, then your student essentially gets a 10-point grade bump when we post that here as our lowest passing, which is a 70. And we have to do that for our information system to recognize it as a passing grade. If numeric grades are not used by the prior district, then a letter grade conversion scale that Fulton County, as a board policy, has determined that will be used. Grading scale and credits, that does tie into athletic eligibility. For students to participate in a GHSA, which is Georgia High School Association sport through Chattahoochee, they must be on track for promotion, reference the block to the left with the promotion requirements, and they must have passed 5 out of 6 classes the prior semester in order to be athletically eligible. And when I'm referring to the previous semester, so say baseball is a spring sport. So students wanting to be eligible for baseball must have passed 5 out of their 6 classes in the fall. And a maximum of 2 credits can be earned in summer school, which combines with spring credits for fall eligibility. Okay, so there's a new grading policy in Fulton County that is effective this school year. It is just delineating the percentage of each class average that each category of assignments is worth. And this is just to streamline things across the district to make sure that, one group of students or one area of students is not, being disadvantaged in some way or receiving an unfair advantage. Major assignments or assessments, that would be tests, could be large projects. That's 55% of the total class average. Minor assignments or assessments could be quizzes, might be lab grades in a science class. That's 35% of the total class average. And then practice assignments, which would be homework, classwork, that's 10% of the total class average. Final exams are given at the end of each semester, but it's up to each professional learning community. So give you an example. So world history, we have probably 4 or 5 world history teachers. They all plan together. They all schedule the same things throughout each week and throughout the semester. The PLC determines if the final exam is going to be cumulative for the semester, or it might just be the last unit assessment. Final exams only count as one major assignment. There's not an additional weight. There's not a separate grading category. So this is, I believe, I feel certain this is going to help our students. So it's not going to be for every single class across the board throughout all of high school. There's not, a 20% final exam for every semester. The exception in this situation is courses with an EOC test, and I will get to that in a couple slides, or classes that have an AP exam. So if you're taking, say, AP English Literature, there will not be a cumulative final exam, since the AP exam is meant to be the cumulative exercise. Seniors only may exempt second semester final exams if they have an 85 or higher course average. And I believe that's usually determined in like the 17th week, or, one of the last couple weeks of the semester. There will be a procedure for each class to determine that once it gets closer to that time. Recovery is a kind of special thing for Fulton County. Of course, all of Fulton County, we want students to be able to show mastery of course standards. Students have an opportunity to recover their grade on any major assignment or assessment if they scored below a 75%. On the recovery assignment or assessment, students can earn a maximum of 75%. So if for some reason a student scores below a 75 on the recovery assignment, they will receive either the grade earned on the recovery assignment or the original grade, whichever is higher. So it's never going to be, students aren't going to be penalized for attempting recovery, even if they score lower on the recovery. If a student scores above a 75, then of course the maximum they can earn is that 75. Each individual teacher is, could have their own policies and procedures as far as they might want students to complete missing assignments, complete a certain remediation activity, maybe come to a help session and work with the teacher prior to recovery opportunities. And this is just to make sure that the student isn't just, oh, I'm just going to do recovery with no preparation or with little preparation. And we want it to be worthwhile. Recovery must be requested by the student, and it has to be completed prior to the due date for the next major assignment. So say in a geometry class, a student needs to do recovery on Unit 1 test. They can't ask for recovery on the Unit 1 test after the Unit 2 test has already been taken. So the end of course tests, that's something I referenced 2 slides ago. The state of Georgia requires students to take an EOC in the second semester of 4 specific courses. All of them are required for high school graduation. So it's 11th grade / American Lit, Algebra 1, Biology, and U.S. History. And by state rule, EOCs are required to count as 20% of the student's second semester grade. So in these 4 classes, the second semester grade weighting will be adjusted. So it'll be a little bit different than the grade percentages that I shared a couple slides ago. Major assignments, instead of 55%, they will be 40%. And minor assignments, instead of 35%, they'll be 30%. The practice still counts as 10%. And again, that's only second semester, and it's just these 4 specific classes. EOCs are given in late April, early May each school year. They're given, during school time. Your students' teachers would be able to tell you, once we get closer to that time, what specific day during the testing window that the county provides us that they'll be testing. If for some reason a student needs to retake second semester of any of these 4 courses in summer school, they must also retake the EOC at the end of summer school. If for some odd reason they attend summer school, but then they miss that EOC administration, maybe y'all go out of town or something like that, they can take it at the next administration, which is usually in September. Okay, again, this is another way for students to show mastery of course standards. At the end of each semester, our graduation coaches run what we call the semester extension program. Students are given the opportunity to show that they have mastered certain course standards through an online learning platform that we utilize. Not all classes are available, but many are. And students must earn between a 65 and a 69 as their semester class average to qualify for semester extension. So this means, say at the end of this semester, if a student in Algebra 1 ends up with a 63, Unfortunately, they end up with that 63 on their transcript. They don't qualify for semester extension. So this is really why every point matters. Parents, guardians will be notified via email directly from your student's teacher if your student is eligible for semester extension. So we advise all parents to keep an eye on your email inboxes toward the end of each semester. And again, this is where monitoring your students' grades on Infinite Campus really becomes important and comes into play. Definitely monitor your students' grades on Infinite Campus. If for some reason you notice that your student finishes a class with between a 65 and 69, but you haven't received notification from that teacher about semester extension, please reach out to that teacher directly. I fully believe our teachers do everything possible to communicate with families, to make sure students are in the best situation possible, but we're human, we're not robots. So on the off chance that a student's parent does not receive an email, this is when it's really helpful for y'all to be watching things as well. For semester extension, students must finish the online course with 100% completion and at least a 70% overall grade by a set deadline. It's usually a week or two once semester extension begins. And then once semester extension is successfully completed, the final grade will be posted as a 70 on the student's transcript. So this is really helping your student, number one, to show mastery of course standards, but it's also a way to, benefit their transcript as well. Instead of a 65, 66, 67, 68, 69 being posted on their transcript, they're getting a 70. In this picture, in the screenshot here, that's just an example of what it could look like. You'll see that this student was 100% complete. They earned a 95.9% overall grade in these online activities. The start date was May 26th and the end date was June 6th. So that was a student who did semester extension for this past spring. The transcript I referenced earlier that you can view on Infinite Campus, it is an official record of all the grades and credits earned from your student throughout all of high school. It shows their numeric average and lists literally everything they've taken. This is a permanent record. All grades earned, both passed and failed or retaken, are recorded. So mentioned before, if a student goes to summer school, sometimes it's necessary if a student doesn't pass, a course that's needed for graduation. The passed and the failed or retaken grade are both on the transcript. And they do both count into the student's numeric average. And again, the copy, an unofficial copy of the transcript is available to view in print, both from the student and parent portal for Infinite Campus. Y'all may very well already know this as parents and students as well, but these are just some good practices for academic success. Definitely get organized. There's not just one system that is the tried and true way. Whatever works for you and your family and your student is the way to go. I rely on my phone calendar for everything. I don't like paper. So I have everything in my phone. I've got my personal and my work calendar synced together, so I know exactly what is coming up every day and every week for me. So whether it's paper organizer, using the phone calendar, a whiteboard in your student's room, or maybe your family's kitchen, writing down due dates for each semester as soon as you get the syllabus, whatever version you use, just please use it. Definitely start each semester strong. It's much easier for students to keep the momentum going if they start everything strong each semester than try to play catch up later. Work piles up quicker than you think, and then suddenly your student is scrambling and trying to figure out, how am I going to fit all of this in the little amount of time I have? When you can see on a class syllabus that projects and papers are coming up, those are going to be a little bit more time intensive. There's probably going to be a couple different parts to each of them. Plan out on that organization system when to complete the different portions of it, so it's not trying to do all of it at the end. Try to study in a well-lit space with few distractions. I remember being in high school and wanting to lay on my bed in kind of darkness and study, and that was just not working. I get distracted by my phone. So when I need to buckle down and really do some work or study for something, definitely I keep my phone in a different room, or I turn it off, or I just turn it over so I don't see notifications. Um, for students, definitely spreading out their studying is really helpful. Research has continually shown that short sessions of studying over a longer period of time are a lot more effective than a really long cram session the night before, a big quiz or test. And then that also ties into kids need sleep. Teenagers need 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. I'm sure most of our kids are not getting 10 hours. I would be happy with 8 hours. But when you're trying to cram the night before a big quiz or a test or even a final exam, you're not going to get those 8 hours of sleep before cramming. So spread out the studying to help yourself get enough sleep. If you are in class, or parents or guardians, if your student's in class and you think that they seem to need some help, encourage them to ask questions during or after class. I know a lot of students are worried about raising my hand and I'm the one asking the question, and it's going to look like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm telling you, it's so very likely that other students have the exact same questions, and maybe even more questions than your student does. If they are not comfortable asking questions in the middle of class, see if they can stay after class for a minute or two and ask their teacher questions. Chat time, if you haven't heard of it or seen it on a school schedule, it is a 25-minute block of time built into second period every single day of the week. And no teacher their access to teachers. If your student wants to get help from a teacher during chat time, they just need to request a pass from that teacher ahead of time. And then they'll show that pass to their second period teacher so they can be dismissed to go to the other teacher. Most teachers have pre-scheduled help sessions. They might, depend on upcoming tests or quizzes. If they don't, students can always ask teachers when they can come in for extra help. Some teachers have before school or after school obligations. So just getting with that teacher and talking to them ahead of time about when they're available is important. We also have meetings, once in a while, whether they're faculty meetings, whether they're parent-teacher conferences. So definitely check with the teacher ahead of time to make sure that they're available, the next morning or afternoon when you want to come in. Students oftentimes set up study groups with, classmates or friends. And oftentimes studying with others can really help them figure out new and different ways of thinking about concepts, learning, different information in their classes, creative ways to memorize facts, all that kind of stuff. So take advantage of, the kids that your students know in the same class, or even just taking the same subject. And then if you feel like your student needs even more help, their subject area teacher may be able to suggest a private tutor. And then we in the counseling office have a list of private tutors in the area who have given us their contact information. Of course, we have not vetted them. We don't, we're not an organization like that has a process for vetting tutors. So we just encourage parents to, do their own research, maybe ask around for suggestions from neighbors or friends, that kind of thing. Okay, attendance. Super, super, super important. Um, we want students to be at school every single day whenever possible. Obviously, if a student has a contagious illness or fever, we've got a medical appointment they have to attend, a death in the family, they might have to go to court for something, a pre-approved absence where, they have to travel out of town for a close family member's wedding, or they're going on a college visit. There are different types of excuse absences, except in the case of a pre-approved absence, because of course that has to be pre-approved. Be sure to send in an absence note when your student returns to school, or Ms. Balza in the attendance office. You can email her directly. Our previous cluster nurse, she used to say the 3 B's, so bleeding, burning, or well, the B word for throwing up, barfing. Those three, unless you have one of those three things, you should be in school. And now I'm going to add a C. So the three Bs or COVID. Other than that, we really should be at school. We understand that, students are going to have, slight stomach aches or maybe a headache or like a little stuffy nose or something. But really missing school and missing assignments and missing instruction and work, it makes it a lot more difficult to catch up on all of that when you return while also staying on top of their current assignments. Please also try not to miss critical days. And by critical days, I'm meaning, the first and last couple weeks of each semester, right before and after long holiday breaks. Every year we seem to have a lot of families that are traveling and they miss final exams at the end of first semester and then at the end of second semester. But the school year calendar is posted on the county website a good 1.5 to 2 years ahead of time. So please be sure to check it when you're making travel plans or, maybe a student's considering attending a special summer camp. Students are not permitted to take final exams early. Students who are going to miss final exams for, an excused reason, they must request pre-approval for that, and they would take them at a future date. So say our final exams in May would probably be May 22nd through 25th. If your family plans to leave on May 19th to go out of town, to go on a trip, then your student will not be able to take those exams early. They will have to take them at some point in the summer. And it's possible that, because the student will be away from the instruction for a period of time, it might be more difficult for them to study and prepare for those. So that's why it's just really important. Attendance, come to school. One of the best ways for students to be successful in school is to get connected with the clubs, organizations, all the different organizations that exist in the school and at Chattahoochee. We have so many, I can't even tell you, I think we have something like 80 clubs and organizations. There's honor societies for a number of the subject areas. There's, a number of athletic teams. I want to say, yeah, here we go. It's the second point or the third point down here. We have 19 sports, including esports. So even for those of us, myself included, that would call ourselves not sporty, there are ways to get involved. Club Day is coming up on September 20th. So during all lunch periods in the gym, students will be able to walk around to all the tables for the clubs that we have, get to know the sponsors, meet some of the student leaders, and just get information about joining them. There are clubs out there for everything, for knitting, for table tennis, for science Olympiad, anything you could probably think of, it probably exists. We want parents to get connected as well. Curriculum night is going to be September 8th for 9th and 11th graders, and then September 15th for 10th and 12th graders. They're separated like that, just number one, so that, families that have multiple students, hopefully they can, the parents can make it to both curriculum nights or, more than one. And also for, parking and traffic purposes as well. You'll be able to meet every single one of your students' teachers. You'll be able to walk their schedules. You'll be able to feel what it feels like to be them and walking from class to class. And then during their lunch, quote, period on curriculum night, the counseling office will be doing a short informational presentation in the cafeteria. So you'll be able to see us face to face as well. And then, of course, we encourage parents to join the PTSA, get involved, whether it's volunteering, donating, spending your time, just figuring out something that you're interested in to get involved in. Even if it's not necessarily through PTSA, there's a lot of, most of our sports, I believe all of them are going to have a booster club that you can get involved in as parents. Even in the performing arts, there's usually parents that are involved in those productions as well, helping out with the different logistics of things. Okay. A lot of Chattahoochee's communication and contact with parents is done via email. It's just, the most expeditious way of getting information out to a lot of people at one time. So please monitor the email accounts you listed when you registered your student. However, just know if something urgent comes up at school, your student, goes to the clinic and is sick and needs to be picked up, you definitely would receive a phone call. We do not email about, urgent or emergency type things. Points of contact for Chattahoochee departments and faculty members can all be found at chatcougar.com. And I'm actually just finished creating an abbreviated contact list that I'm going to email out to all parents, all of our new parents. And I'm going to get it posted to the website as well, for just the common questions that parents and guardians and students have, and who to contact at school about that. If you need to get in touch with your students' teachers, email is best for initial communication. Teachers don't have phones in their classrooms here, so there's not a way for you to, call the teacher directly. All your students' teachers' names are going to be listed in Infinite Campus, and the teacher email addresses can be found under the staff tab of the school website, listed alphabetically. You may always request to schedule a phone conference with a teacher. Just know that, it's kind of going to be subject to their availability, because, they're teaching classes 5 periods a day. They have 1 period of planning, 1 period, maybe even half a period for lunch. So it might be that they can only call you back after school hours or before school hours. So if you do reach out to them asking for a phone conference, it'd probably be good for you to go ahead and share, these are the times that are work for my schedule. And then if you see your student is struggling in multiple classes, and you see, you think maybe there's a more widespread issue going on, please reach out to your student's assigned school counselor, and we can help in facilitating a parent-teacher conference and invite all of their teachers to attend. These are all of the people in the counseling department. We are all here to help your students in a variety of ways. Every single one of us has our contact information listed on the website, and then they will also be listed in the contact list that I'm going to email y'all before the end of the week. If students want to meet with their counselor, they are welcome to come by the counseling office. We have a QR code system on the front desk. Once they scan the QR code, the students will choose a day and time using our electronic scheduling system. Then they will receive a confirmation email confirming their selected day and time. They will show that email to their teacher in order to leave class for that meeting. Parents and guardians who want to make appointments with us or other counseling office members, that would be done either by emailing or calling them. The contact information, again, is available on the counseling website. Students and parents or guardians are welcome to email us anytime with quick questions. We're definitely happy to answer questions, to give you, some short information. Of course, if it's a lot more detailed or a lot more involved, we might reach out and say, hey, we might need to meet in person, or we might need to schedule a phone conference. And then we have what we call it Counselor of the Day. So with 5 counselors here and 5 days of the week, every single one of us has a day of the week that we have nothing on our calendar. So that if a student emergency happens, if a student comes in, is really upset, if a parent comes in with something urgent that they need handled, there is a counselor here to help that student or parent pretty immediately. And this is just to kind of show you what to expect from our counseling department throughout the year. This by no means is everything that we do. This is just really the big points, I would call them. We do grade level information presentations throughout each year at different points, just depending on what kind of timeline is important for the students. So seniors, of course, fall is the time when students are starting to apply to colleges. So senior information night is actually this Thursday, September 1st. That email went out earlier in the week from Ms. Johnson. It's also going to be on Microsoft Teams, and it will be recorded and posted to the counseling website later. Junior information night, these are for 11th grade students. So the general information session will be Thursday, October 13th, also on Microsoft Teams. And then once the information night happens, students and parents will be able to schedule individual junior advisement meetings. Those will happen middle of October through December. And that's like a 15-20 minute meeting for 11th graders and their parents to meet individually with their counselor about what their plans are for after high school and what steps we need to take between now and then to get to help accomplish that. And then we do a combined 9th and 10th grade information night in late January. All of these presentations that I'm referencing are from last school year. They're available on the counseling website. If you already have questions about that kind of information, you are welcome to go pull them up and watch them. I believe all of them are recorded on in video format, so you'll actually probably be taken to a YouTube link, but you're welcome to go ahead and watch those anytime. We do a dual enrollment information night every spring. So this year it'll be February 1st in 2023. Dual enrollment, I think I said it before, but dual enrollment is students in high school taking college classes and earning college and high school credit for those classes. Then kind of heading towards the end of the school year, late February to early March, we meet individually with every 9th through 11th grader to review their course recommendations that their teachers have entered for the following school year. And then after that, parents will be able to make brief scheduling meetings to discuss their students' courses for the 23-24 school year. So that's just kind of our timeline as far as the big points of what we have coming up. If for some reason you as a family or you believe, you feel like something is going on with your student and you need some additional resources, Summit Counseling is a Fulton County mental health partner. Summit On Site, they provide a counselor on campus at Chattahoochee a couple days a week. Dr. Motri is available for individual counseling for students during the school day. Summit also is available for individual counseling outside of the school day, but it would just be on at their office location. If you feel like this is something that your student would benefit from, check with your student's counselor and we can give you information on how to get in touch with them. If you would like assistance finding a therapist or counselor for your student outside of school that maybe isn't Summit, that's completely fine as well. We are always happy to help you, help point you in the right direction. And then our full-time social worker, Ms. McClung, this is actually the first year that Fulton County has decided that high schools need a full-time social worker. We are super, super excited to have her full-time with us. She is available to help connect families to community resources and supports and to help remove any barriers to student success. So I shared kind of our timeline for our presentations that we do during the school year. This is just our very soon coming up events. So tomorrow morning during chat time, we are hosting a new student breakfast. So every single new student, every student that is new to Chattahoochee, save for rising 9th graders that came from our feeder middle school. Every single student received a pass today in class, inviting them to the new student breakfast. If for some odd reason your student did not receive a pass in class and they would like to come to the breakfast, please have them stop by the counseling office before school tomorrow morning. We did have probably 150 passes that our office aides delivered this morning, so hopefully they got to the right places. Like I mentioned before, the senior information presentation is this Thursday on Teams, and that's at 5:30, and that right there is a short link, a bit.ly, to take you to that meeting. It was also sent out in an email. New students who attend the breakfast and indicate they want to be part of our new student group. Ms. Fitzsimmons and I, one of our other counselors, we are going to be leading the new student group for 4 weeks. And that will begin on September 8th. And that's just a chance for new students to get to know other new students that are, in their same shoes, and, helpful ways to, get them involved in Chattahoochee and get them engaged. Then I did share this before, September 8th and 15th, curriculum nights for the 2 different grade distributions. And then September 20th is club day for all lunch periods in the gym for students. And then our last slide is just a reminder of ways to stay connected. Our website is pretty spectacular. It has a ton of information, probably more than you could want. But definitely you can find a lot of information there. Our Facebook page, we post a lot of information there. We have 2 Twitter accounts. Hooch Happenings is the main one for Chattahoochee as a whole. And then Hooch Counselors is just the Twitter account for the counseling page. For the counseling office, sorry. And then you might have already received one, but there's a bi-monthly Hooch Happenings S'more newsletter that is sent to all parent emails listed in Infinite Campus. So that's a great way to keep in touch with us on that as well. So I think we're at the end. I'm going to unshare my screen and open it up for.
Well, let me cover, Miss Blunt. This is Miss Chilson, and let me cover just a few things that came up in the chat. A really good question was about, and this is new this year, but some remote learning days that we have. And the first one that we're having is on September 6th. What that is it's a professional development day for staff. So all staff will pretty much be in training or have something going on that day. But teachers will likely assign asynchronous work to students that will be in teams. It will need to be, this assignments will need to be uploaded in teams. But remote learning days are kind of new this year. And the first one is coming up on September 6th. Another question that came up is about textbooks and where to get them. Teachers are the ones that issue the textbooks. Some classes have online textbooks, and there's a code that goes to that. The teacher too would have issued that information either in their syllabus or on Teams or just somewhere in the initial information. If you're coming to curriculum night, that would be a great time to ask those questions about any kind of textbooks or online text or anything. The other thing about curriculum night, they are at 6:30 p.m. So that's the start time for curriculum night. And I think it was the 8th and the 15th for different grade levels, but the time is 6:30. One of the things was about AP classes, and Ms. Blunt, you might be able to speak to this. There's been a lot of changes about grading and everything for the whole year, but AP classes and the comprehensive exam that they're going to have at the end of the year. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. So the grading policy in the county is specifying that students that are taking an AP class they will not be taking a cumulative final exam at the end of the semester. At the end of the spring semester, since they will be taking the standardized advanced placement exam in May. Was that your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that that covers just something that came up. So
Okay.
just making sure, with AP exams, it's just a little bit different for the end of the year and how everything is run. There was a parent that is asking about the AP Chinese exam. AP Chinese is not even offered at Chattahoochee anymore. So that's up to Mr. Abelkop as to whether or not we're going to order any tests or anything like that. So you would need to just reach out to Mr. Abelkop to make sure that you can get what you need or get your questions answered, anything regarding advanced placement.
I'm sorry, can I butt in for just 1 second? This is
Yes.
Katissa Johnson. I want to refer anyone that's taken an AP exam, please ask your teachers about any practice exams they're going to do, because practice exams would mimic what the AP exam would look like, which would be comprehensive. So those could be a part of your major assignments, and it's very traditional for them to do practice exams to help prep the kids. So make sure if your child is taking an AP exam that they ask their teacher whether or not practice exams are being scheduled, because that would be a comprehensive type of exam. It would not replace a final, which is what we traditionally have in other courses. So it is very different, but it is going to be covering all of the material that's being covered in the AP course.
Those were all the questions that kind of came up in the chat that I feel like I, I went over. So if there's any additional questions that parents have, just raise your hand and Ms. Blunt will get to you.
Yep. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands raised. Is that possible? Okay, well, we either did a really great job presenting or you haven't figured out your questions yet, and either one is totally fine. Oh, you're so very welcome. If y'all think of any questions that that come up, you know, discussing this with your family later on, or maybe even watching this again later on, you're welcome to reach out to your student's school counselor. And like I said, the kind of abbreviated contact list for some of the most common questions, I'm going to be emailing that directly to each of you as new families before the end of the week is over. I just need to get it uploaded on the website.
And we're so glad y'all are part of the Chattahoochee family. Thank you for choosing Chattahoochee to have your kids.
And you'd think I would have started with that because this is my I am like, I'm pro hooch through and through. This is my 16th year at Chattahoochee, and it's just family to me. So I'm really glad that all of y'all have chosen to be part of our family.
I saw one question in here about, is there a maximum number of clubs a student can register for within a semester? There's not a max, but I do think that there is a max of amount of time in the day. And just having a balanced life and a balanced schedule and not trying to do too much and overextend yourself. So just keep that in mind. I mean, it's great to be involved, but not to the point where you're burning the candle at both ends.
And we do think it's more beneficial for the student to, you know, commit their time to, you know, maybe a smaller number of clubs or organizations and be really involved in those and work towards leadership positions and, you know, be really passionate about the mission or, you know, the goal of those clubs rather than, you know, taking on 20 clubs just to list it on a resume.
And just for those coming in late, we did record the meeting and we are going to post it online later this week. So you didn't miss anything. You'll be able to rewatch the recording and have access to the questions.
Okay, well, I guess if there's no questions, we will close it out for the night. We thank you for joining us, and we are so happy that y'all have chosen to be part of our family. Y'all have a good rest of the night.